This wagon that I have up from Houston, Texas is a wagon that we're going to convert over to roller bearing. So in the process of doing this, we had to rebuild the wheels. One wheel was missing, so we see one with a new hub. And these still have the original boxings inside that fit the wood axles. So we're going to put them in this little press that's made just for doing that, and we're going to press out the boxings so we can get ready to put in a roller bearing conversion boxing. These boxings are on a taper, so they push out fairly easily. Here we can see the inside of the hub without the boxing. So here we have the new style roller bearing boxings on the left, and I'm double checking to see if there's any differences. Oftentimes the new boxings are larger than the old boxings, and we have to bore them out to accommodate them. In this case, they were really close. They were a little longer on the new boxings, but we could make them fit. Once I determine where the old boxing set in relation to the hub, I can then determine where the new boxing has to fit, so that it makes the wheel run in the same position that it did originally. Now when I press these boxings in, you notice I put a little wood glue on them, and we all know that wood glue doesn't really adhere well to steel, but the purpose of the glue is not to glue the boxings into the hub, but it is to fill the wood grain and increase the surface contact into the hub. What really holds the boxing into place is a tight fit, pressure fit when these are pressed into the box or into the hub. This is where the new boxing will be positioned in these hubs. They have a little brass cap that will go over the bearings once they are installed onto the axles, and this is what they'll look like. Now since we have one wheel that was completely built new, we have to do all the boring into the center of this hub to accommodate the new roller bearing boxing. Now this hub boring process is really the alignment process on a buggy or wagon wheel. The hole is bored true with the tire, not necessarily true with the hub. And we also want to check the sizes of the original wheel so that we make sure that the new wheel fits the same style. So this is the large end of the hub that will take the large end of the boxing. Next we'll turn it around and do the smaller end. Now here I'll take out the cutting blade, we'll insert the bar into the center, and this will become my tool rest, and we'll round off the corners where the nut would have been. And then we can finish boring for the small end of the boxing. We can then press the new boxing into the new hub. I use a 12-ton jack, and sometimes it takes all it has. So when we're done, we should have all 4 wheels that look like they match. With the wheels converted, now we have to convert the wood axles themselves. I had previously removed all the skeins, and now I'm going to slide them back on so that I know just what their position was when this wagon was original. This is the boxings that we took out of the hubs. You see I have a mark here, and that's going to show me where the spokes ran in relation on the hub. Now this is the roller bearing axle that we are converting this wagon to that has Timken roller bearings. The roller bearing boxing also has a mark on it where I've determined where the spokes need to be. So we want these two to correlate. So when this boxing is in position, we want these 2 lines to line up so that we know that the hubs and the wheels will be in the right position. Then I'm going to measure back from the collar on the skein to the end of the square where the spindle starts to be turned. Looks like this is about 1.25 inches or so. Then we're going to go to the other side without moving either one of the axles and take the measurement from the shoulder of the skein on that side, go back the same 1.25 inches, and find out this is where the spindle needs to be in relation to the old axle. This particular axle is extra long. I ordered it extra long so that I could adjust it so that it would fit exactly. So here we see that there has to be about 6 inches has to be taken out of this axle so that the 2 will line up. Now I don't want to just do this right in the center where the kingpin and the 5th wheel bolts are. So I'm going to shift this to the side, and this is kind of an arbitrary location, but I'm going to shift it to the side where nothing's going to go through a weld. Going to measure off our 6 inches. This is the distance that we have to shorten this axle, and I'm going to cut it out, re-weld it so it'll be the right size. Now that I have the roller bearing axle to the proper length, I need to determine where to cut off the wood axle. I'm going to come back so it sets just a little bit shy, about 1/8 of an inch shy, so that it doesn't run into the hub or to a grease seal. I'm going to transfer that over to the wood axle, and this is where I'm going to cut it off. Now I've run both of these wood axles through the table saw to prepare them to receive the new roller bearing axles. These are going to be bedded up inside the old wood axles so that everything will look like it is still original. Now the front axle is a little different because it has the kingpin in the center and then a hole on each side that takes the 5th wheel bolts. So these we have to drill through the steel roller bearing axle. Now we can position them back in place now that we have the holes drilled. Now if you watch right at the end of the wood, there where I clamped it down, you see some compound coming out of the end. What I've done is I've stuck some body filler in there to accommodate any loose cavities, so when this is clamped into place and it all sets up, they're good and solid together. This is just to hold them in position until we get the iron put back on them. So oftentimes today we find old wagons that have wheels that are missing or they're worn out and sloppy. This is one method of making these old gears usable again, but still keeping them looking like they are original. This is also how I make new wagon gears. Thanks for watching.